Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a playground on a spring afternoon. The sun is warm, the air is clear, and the slides and swings stand ready for adventure. But the space is quiet. You expect to hear laughter, to see kids climbing, chasing, inventing games out of nothing. Instead, you see a cluster of children sitting on the benches, not talking to each other, not running or laughing, just staring down at glowing screens in their hands. Their bodies are here, but their minds are somewhere else. It's a strange sight, unsettling, and yet it's become normal. This is the world Jonathan Haidt describes in The Anxious Generation, a world where childhood itself has been rewired, where resilience is shrinking, where mental health is collapsing, and where the very structure of growing up has been transformed in just a decade. The big question is why? Why are rates of anxiety, depression, and self-harm skyrocketing among young people, especially since the early 2010s? Why do kids in some of the wealthiest countries on Earth feel more fragile, more fearful, and less prepared for adulthood than any generation before them? Haidt's answer is clear. We are witnessing the fallout of a historic experiment, the replacement of a play-based childhood with a phone-based childhood. For thousands of years, children grew up in communities. They played outdoors. They explored neighborhoods, climbed trees, built forts, scraped their knees. Through play, they discovered independence, courage, and resilience. But in just a few short years, that model collapsed. Parents, fearful of danger, pulled kids indoors. Schools added more restrictions, and into that empty space rushed the smartphone. At first, it seemed harmless, even helpful. Phones gave kids connection, entertainment, and safety. Parents liked the idea of being able to track their child's location. Kids liked the endless novelty. But what no one realized was that the smartphone wasn't just another tool. It was an entire environment. It reshaped the brain. It restructured social life. It replaced sleep, replaced play, replaced face-to-face relationships. And it happened fast. Around 2012, as smartphones and social media became universal, something eerie appeared in the data. Rates of teen depression and anxiety soared. Self-harm hospitalizations for girls doubled. Suicide rates rose. The sharpest increases weren't among adults. They were among middle schoolers, kids barely into adolescence, who had suddenly been handed devices that rewired their development. The numbers tell a frightening story, but the stories themselves make it real. A 13-year-old boy spends hours every night scrolling YouTube until 3 in the morning. He can't focus in school. He feels exhausted, detached. A girl posts a photo, checks her phone obsessively for likes, and crumbles when her friends get more attention than she does. Another teen prefers chatting online to hanging out in person. The awkwardness of face-to-face interaction feels unbearable now. It's not that kids are weak. It's that the environment around them has shifted in ways no generation has ever faced. Here's the irony. Children today are safer than ever in the physical world. Crime rates have fallen for decades. Abductions are rare. And yet parents became more fearful, restricting outdoor play. At the very same time, the online world exploded vast, addictive, unregulated. Kids weren't allowed to ride their bikes to the park, but they were allowed to wander TikTok at midnight. And that online world, it's not built to nurture them. Social media companies design platforms to exploit psychology. Dopamine hits from likes, infinite scrolling feeds that never end, algorithms that amplify outrage, gossip, and comparison. For children and teens whose brains are still developing, these platforms are like psychological slot machines. They prey on the deepest human drives, belonging, approval, fear of exclusion, and monetize them. Think about the middle school years. It's when kids naturally become hypersensitive to social approval. They want to know who likes them, who doesn't, where they stand. In the past, those questions played out in hallways and playgrounds in small groups. Painful sometimes, yes, but bounded. Now, social status is measured by numbers, by likes and followers, visible to all 24/7. There is no escape. This changes more than feelings. It changes development itself. Instead of learning to resolve conflicts face-to-face, kids ghost each other. Instead of building resilience through unstructured play, they build curated versions of themselves online. Instead of stumbling through awkward in-person conversations, they hide behind emojis and memes. And the result is a generation more anxious, less resilient, and often unprepared for life's challenges. But here's the crucial part: it doesn't have to stay this way. Haidt argues that we can reverse this trend, that with courage and cooperation, parents, schools, and communities can bring childhood back to what it should be. The first step is play. Real, unstructured, outdoor play. Children need the freedom to climb trees, ride bikes, invent games, get dirty, and sometimes even get hurt. Every scraped knee, every argument over the rules of a made-up game, every adventure outside adult supervision, those aren't dangers to avoid. They're the training ground for resilience. The second step is delay. Delay smartphones. Delay social media. Childhood is too precious to surrender to algorithms. Haidt suggests no smartphones before high school and no social media before 16. This is not about being strict for the sake of it. It's about protecting brain development during the most vulnerable years. The third step is school reform. Schools should stop reinforcing fragility and instead teach independence. They should create tech-free spaces where students can connect face-to-face. They should teach digital literacy, not just how to use devices, but how to resist being used by them. And the final step is collective action. No single parent can fight this alone. If one child gives up a phone while all their friends stay online, that child feels excluded. But when communities act together, when schools, neighborhoods, and parent groups set common rules, the pressure lifts and kids thrive. Haidt's message is urgent, but it's hopeful, because the problem isn't permanent. Brains are plastic, culture can shift, childhood can be reclaimed. At the heart of the book is a truth that parents, teachers, and policymakers must remember. Children are not fragile. They are strong, adaptive, capable when they're given space to grow. Anxiety blooms when that space disappears, but resilience blooms when we step back and let them live. So picture that playground again. Empty swings, silent slides, kids bent over their screens. Now imagine something different. The phones are in backpacks. Kids are running, shouting, chasing one another. Someone falls, scrapes a knee, and gets back up. Two kids argue over the rules of a game and figure it out on their own. There's laughter, noise, chaos, freedom. That's what childhood is supposed to sound like. The anxious generation does not have to stay anxious, but saving them will take courage, not just from kids, but from all of us.